was very instrumental in working that together. When they first came up, they talked about a dual treadway, and of course the DNR, as they get involved, it kind of was going to turn out to be a single blacktop path, but we encouraged them to keep on their plan with the dual treadway so that both our elderly and handicapped people could use it. The dual treadway was for the horse paths through Grant, and they always said the horses will find their way single file. And I was at the Capitol when they're talking about it, and I encouraged them to make it wide enough that wagons can go down. I says, my 80-some-year-old grandmother at that time, I says, gets out on a hayride and goes out for the hayride with us. I says, we've encouraged, and some of the other people that belong to the Carriage Association use that trail and give rides to the people with from Camp Courage and stuff, and some of the handicap. And without making that wide enough, the use would be limited to a few more of the bicyclers and stuff. So we've got a great system in place, and if we engage the citizens to work along with the government, we can end up with a better product, in my opinion. And it has been.
Right, exactly. And one of the things that I have always found so important about having trail systems is, of course, human beings use trail systems, but the wildlife also use the trail systems, and those are transportation corridors for the wildlife. And so you hear again so oftentimes how we need to be thinking about you know, greenways and whatever, and I find it so interesting most of the time when a lot of the big planners are all talking about these greenways and everything, they never actually include the trail systems within those discussions of the greenways, because those connections actually are the trails that connect many of those things, and that's where the wildlife is actually traveling along when we're not there. It's an easy way to get from A to B.
That's right. If you get up early enough in the morning, you'll see them on the trail. That's right.
Well, and I think a lot of folks who live, you know, obviously more in the metro area here too, if they use the trail system, they probably have seen quite a number of fox and raccoon and deer on the trail, and they go, okay, well, we know where they like to be. So now we have some film footage from a recent council meeting. And Larry, maybe you can give us a little setup on this as to exactly how many meetings ago it was, or?
This was a public comment section from last month's city council meeting, just to give you an idea of flavor of how things are going in Grant. And to start out with, we invite them to the first annual tractor parade, and it goes on and engages the 4-H, and we can kind of talk about that as people see that, so we'll let it roll.
That sounds good. Now, I've also, though, been told we do have a caller on the line, so let's get our caller questions or comments, and then we'll have our film clip, and that way we'll not keep the caller waiting on the line. Caller, are you there? Are you there, caller? Okay, well, let's go to our film clip then, and caller, please, thank you for waiting before, and I'm sorry that we didn't get right to you, but go ahead and please call back. So let's play the film clip and take a look at what we've got.
You go, where you can speak, so you can speak to the council. So you'll have a limited amount of time. We have a big agenda when you get through, but Larry, you're up.
All right, Larry Lanou, Keswick Avenue. There's a group that was formed. I informed you of it last month, the Grant Restoration Project. This next Saturday, 9/11, we are having a tractor parade. It's leaving the Gast House, coming to the City Hall. I'd like to invite all the residents to come show up. The focus of it is to get to know your neighbors better, bond a little bit with your neighbors, see it. We don't have a coffee shop, gas station, ice cream parlor. So it's a chance to get to meet and know your neighbors a little bit better. And I'd encourage our city council and planning commission to put together a float and come on out and meet some of your neighbors. Thank you.
Anybody else?
So anyway, okay, so you invited everyone on the council, obviously the community too, everyone on the council to come, and the planning commission. Who came?
Go ahead, Bill.
Well, we had 2 council members show up.
Okay.
And it was Scott Fogelson and Dan Potter.
Okay.
Even though they're all invited, I was a little disheartened that we didn't have any. I kind of joked and said, spot the missing car in the parade.
So anyway, and now you've got another event coming up, and I don't want to forget to mention this because, you know, the show goes by so quickly. But there's going to be the Grant Cleanup Day, which is October 2nd. So tell us a little bit about what that is.
Well, the Grant Cleanup Day is the second cleanup day for this year. The first one was taken over by the city, and our turnout's been very poor. Last spring, we've got 18 people showed up. The person collecting the refuse says 25% of it actually came from our roads and ditches. So once our city has taken that, which was a volunteer cleanup day, we've suffered quite a bit. Historically, we've been having between 75 to 80 people showing up with the support of the 4-H group. And we'd like to start that over again. Encourage people to come to the City Hall at 10 o'clock. We'd like to get some of the volunteers that came out to the tractor parade to put tractors in different corners of the city. Encourage the kids to get on there, take that hay ride back, clean the ditches along the way, come back to City Hall, and I think we'll probably throw out some hot dogs and hot chocolate and a couple of potato chips so that at the end of the day, once again, Bill's brother is going to give free pumpkins to all the kids that show up and participate.
Right.
And the big thing is to get the kids to be proud of their community, get them engaged at a young age, and those are the type of people that seem to come back and want to settle back in Grant after they go off to school.
That's right. That's great. Now, we do have another film clip here, also again from the council meeting, so let's see if we can play that, and then we'll get some comments on that.
There it is. I wondered when you guys were going to come back. All right.
So, my name is Diane Renier, and I'm from Keswick Avenue. I'm also a Soil Savers 4-H member and a leader. And these are my two kids who have been in Soil Savers since they've been clover buds, very little. And we would like to bring up the issue of why we have been utilizing this town hall for the last 50 years, as you can see by the banner that we produced last year. This banner represents our kids and our club and their pride for the community and for 4-H. This year our kids did not do a banner because you guys have stripped them from this town hall. You have taken a lot away from our youth to make this, I guess, a very clean and, I don't know, cold place. And it used to be our community, our place to come to. So I'd like to bring this as an issue, and my son made it to the state fair this year with the 4-H project, and it was really depressing to see 4-H club banners all over that, you know, the 4-H building at the state fair, and we weren't represented. I think it's wrong. I think it's not right. We should be representing our children and encouraging them to grow as good adults. I might add, we also have done a lot of work in this town hall. We have cleaned this town hall. We painted the white fence, which you now paid for this year. We've done that for free. Brad says he does stuff for free. We do that for free. We plant flowers. We get people to donate things for this community. And we don't feel like we want to do that anymore because you don't make us feel welcome. So I really, really would like to see us to be able to at least hang our last banner that we have made back in this building to show the support for our kids and our community. This does not do it. This is not it. This is not what Grant is about. This is not why we moved here. You're taking that away.
Thank you.
Lauren Cedars.
Well, pause it there because we'll come back to the next commentary. But so we talked a little bit about this the last program, but I think it's important for our viewers to understand what's happened here. The banner used to always be there, and suddenly by council edict, it's no longer to be there.
If I might, I'm just going to go ahead and share a little bit about the background in case people don't understand
please. Yes.
how important 4-H is to that area. And probably a lot of small towns or communities, especially rural communities in Minnesota and everywhere else. But 4-H has been brought up over and over and over throughout the generations as being a part of youngsters' lives, specifically in Grant. There were soil savers, Jolly Juniors, Grant Winners, Twin Lakes clubs. There were several 4-H clubs that came into the area of Grant, and countless residents of Grant who grew up in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. My family, my siblings. These were clubs that brought community. They brought the youth together. This is what youth, this is what kids did back then. They were part of 4-H. It gave them a set of standards, and it showed them. It gave them goals. They socialized that way. That was a big thing for them. They stayed in 4-H, those kids, until they graduated from high school.
Right, and it's a form of civic engagement for the young people so that they feel like they're part of the community too.
That's right.
And it gives them a reason why they want to continue on in the community. Yes.
And yep, the Soil Savers started in 1959. There's lots of the old names, the Mastermans, the Bensons. These were generational families that were leaders in those groups back then, along with Joyce Wielander, who, of course, has been a leader for something like, I don't know, she's been in 4-H for something like 60 years. So most of her life.
Yeah.
But there's countless youngsters who grew up that way, and it's something that brought them together.
Yeah. And so what's the rationale for not having the 4-H banner on the wall? I mean, it looks like everything else is on the wall.
Historically, every year they make a new banner and set it on the wall, and I think there's a little bit of discourse between some people in there, and they thought we could take them down. City Council will tell you it's because they were dirty. They could have been washed, hung back up. They did put that 50-year banner back up after they made that here a year ago, and it was removed as soon as it was put up. So I was fortunate the other last week to stop in while they still do hold their meetings in our city hall, and it was a packed room. They had 60, 70 parents and kids in that room.
Wow.
I was fortunate to ask them people if they would still consider come out, get engaged again, get back on track. Let's start getting our youth involved one more time. They volunteered to come help us on the Grant cleanup. And I think the only thing they've asked that, if we come back and help clean the, town hall, the roads and ditches, could we get an answer? Because even after that gal said on television, she would like to put it back up there. Our City Council hasn't given them an answer yet, and I believe I will ask one of our city councilmen to make a motion and make them vote on it.
Yes.
And make them stand for what they do. I can't believe that we have to go to this extreme to get a banner for 4-H, which historically has been there for 40, 50 years, hung back up. It's time we take back our city.
Yeah, exactly. Bill, it looked like you had a comment there.
Well, I remember going to the meetings, and those walls were solid with 4-H banners. And it was fun to look at them and look at the history of them.
Right.
And I mean, your book is going to be intriguing. I'm interested to read that. That's the heritage of Grant.
Yeah, exactly.
And they've stripped it from the community.
Yeah. Now, we have not too much time left, but we have another clip or two here that I know that my guests would like to have played, so let's play another clip.
Well, I think before the clips, I think
Okay.
as long as the time is running short, it's important that we ask or give Eileen the time
Yes.
to tell her about the book that is being produced
Oh,
on the
yes,
heritage of Grant
absolutely.
and some of the sections in it and how they might be able to order this.
Okay.
Well, I really appreciate